Every revolution begins with a promise, the promise of freedom, the promise of progress, the promise at this time. Finally, humanity has learned its lesson. But if history teaches us anything, it's that every revolution, no matter how righteous its beginning, ends the same way: chaos, consolidation, and control. The faces change, the slogans evolve, the technology advances. But the pattern never breaks. From the storming of the Bastille to the rise of Silicon Valley, from the cries of liberty to the chants of innovation, the cycle repeats. We start by tearing down the old masters, only to build new ones in their place. Imagine this: 1789, Paris. The streets are alive with fire and fury. The people have risen. A king is about to fall. 2 centuries later, 1840s Britain. The air thick with coal smoke as machines roar to life, factories swallowing men whole in exchange for progress. Then, the 1990s, the hum of modems, the birth of the internet, the illusion that information will set us free. And now, 2025, the rise of artificial intelligence, the dawn of synthetic consciousness, and the same old human arrogance disguised as the future. Each revolution begins as liberation and ends as domination. The more we evolve, the more our mistakes evolve with us. So here's the question that drives the story. Are we in the middle of humanity's fourth revolution or the final one? Because the world has rewritten itself 4 times. The political revolution that dethroned kings, the industrial revolution that crowned machines, the digital revolution that wired our minds, and now, the AI revolution that seeks to rewrite what it means to be human. They all began with the same dream, to create a better world, and they all ended with the same flaw. We never fix ourselves. We built systems more powerful than the people who controlled them, and every time, power found its way back into the hands of the few. This video isn't about history. It's about patterns. Because if you study the timeline closely, you'll see something chilling. The rhythm of revolutions is accelerating. What took centuries in the past now happens in decades. The gap between invention and exploitation has vanished. We went from monarchs to machines, from printing presses to processors, from revolts in the streets to revolts in the code. And every time, humanity swore it would be different, but it never is. The French Revolution gave birth to democracy and dictators. The Industrial Revolution created wealth and widened inequality. The Digital Revolution promised freedom of information and delivered surveillance capitalism. And the AI Revolution? It's promising the end of human error. But what it might bring is the end of human agency. History doesn't repeat, they say, but it does rhyme. And right now, we're living through a verse we've heard before. So before we dive into these 4 revolutions, remember this. Every great change in history began with noble intentions. But intentions are the easiest part. What follows, the power, the greed, the unintended consequences, that's the part we always seem to forget. From guillotines to algorithms, the story of human progress has been one long experiment in trading one form of control for another. And the biggest question of all is this. When the dust of the fourth revolution settles, will we finally learn, or will we make the same mistake again? The late 18th century was a boiling point in human history. For centuries, the world had been ruled by kings, priests, and empires that claimed divine authority. Power was inherited, not earned. The poor were told their suffering was God's will, while the rich feasted on the labor of millions. But then, the dam cracked. From Paris to Philadelphia, an idea began to spread like wildfire. What if people could rule themselves? In 1776, a group of colonies declared independence from the British Empire. In 1789, the streets of Paris exploded with revolution. Heads rolled, palaces burned, and for the first time, the idea of equality wasn't just a dream, it was a movement. The American and French revolutions gave birth to a new concept, that power should flow upward from the people, not downward from the throne. It was the dawn of democracy, the most radical idea of its time. But revolutions have a pattern. They start with ideals and end with institutions. In America, freedom was declared universal, yet millions remained enslaved. In France, the people fought to end tyranny, and soon replaced it with the reign of terror. The guillotine became the new scepter. When the smoke cleared, new systems replaced old ones. Monarchs were gone, but power didn't vanish. It simply changed form. The revolutionaries became politicians, the priests became ideologues, and the crown was replaced by capital. Democracy promised freedom, but over time it became a theater, a system where the players changed but the script remained the same. 2 centuries later, the same illusion persists. We believe we have choice because we can vote. But the real decisions, the ones that shape our lives, are made in places we never see. Corporate boardrooms, financial institutions, and algorithmic black boxes. The people won the right to speak, but not the right to be heard. The great mistake of the political revolution was confusing political liberty with true freedom. It gave birth to democracy, but not to equality. It overthrew kings, but not the idea of hierarchy itself. Humanity celebrated liberation while quietly rebuilding the same system in a new form, one that speaks the language of freedom while serving the logic of power. The 19th century roared to life with iron lungs and fiery hearts. Steam engines hissed, factories hummed, and smokestacks reached into the skies like monuments to progress. Humanity had harnessed the power of nature, coal, iron, electricity. For the first time, we weren't limited by muscle or wind. Machines could do what humans couldn't. The future had arrived. But behind the romantic image of progress lay a darker truth. The Industrial Revolution didn't free mankind from labor. It multiplied it. In Britain, children as young as 7 worked 16-hour days in suffocating mills. Families lived in overcrowded slums. Air was thick with smoke. Rivers ran black with waste. Cities expanded faster than morality could catch up. The invention of the machine promised to liberate humanity from toil, but instead, it turned workers into extensions of gears. Profit became the new god. The industrialists, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, were hailed as heroes of progress, yet their empires were built on exploitation. They didn't conquer nations with armies. They conquered them with industries. Colonialism adapted to the machine age. Europe no longer sought gold. It sought resources. Cotton, coal, oil, rubber. Entire continents were reshaped to feed the furnaces of the West. The Industrial Revolution gave humanity unimaginable power, but no instruction manual on how to use it responsibly. And yet, the same story echoes today. The gig economy, factory workers in Asia, sweatshops producing the luxuries of the modern world. It's the same system, only with new machinery. The dream of progress still hides the nightmare of inequality. The Industrial Revolution's great mistake was not the creation of machines, but the worship of them. We measured success in productivity, not in purpose. We built faster, bigger, and cheaper, but never asked, for whom? The result was an era that taught us how to create wealth, but not how to distribute it. It showed us how to command nature, but not how to master ourselves. If the 19th century was powered by steam, the 20th was powered by code. The digital revolution began with a simple dream: to connect humanity. The world shrank into a glowing screen. Knowledge became universal, information became instant, and geography stopped mattering. It was the dawn of a new age, where creativity and intelligence were supposed to be the new currency. The promise was intoxicating. Everyone would have a voice, every idea could spread, every person could reach the world. For a while, it worked. The internet gave rise to innovation, education, and expression. It broke the gatekeepers of old media and allowed a kid in a garage to change the world. But every revolution creates its new kings. And in this one, the new monarchs wore hoodies instead of crowns. Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Apple, they didn't just control industries. They controlled attention. They learned that human data, our thoughts, clicks, and emotions, could be turned into profit. The internet didn't become a library. It became a marketplace, one where we are the product. Our lives turned into metrics. Algorithms learned to predict our behavior, shape our opinions, and even influence elections. Surveillance capitalism became the operating system of modern civilization. What began as freedom became dependency. People once chained to machines are now chained to screens. We scroll endlessly, mistaking engagement for purpose. We share, like, and comment, thinking we're participating. when really we're feeding the system that monetizes our attention. The digital revolution's great mistake was believing that information equals wisdom. We connected the world, but disconnected from reality. We gained access to everything, yet lost the ability to focus on anything. Humanity didn't become smarter, it became noisier. The new revolution didn't liberate the mind, it colonized it. And now, we stand at the edge of something unprecedented. The fourth revolution, the age of intelligence. A world where machines don't just work for us, they think for us. Artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules of civilization faster than we can understand them. It began innocently, with chatbots, algorithms, and automation. But behind the convenience, something deeper is happening. AI isn't just performing tasks, it's absorbing patterns, learning from us, mimicking us, and soon surpassing us. Every search, photo, and heartbeat we upload trains the digital brain. We promise ourselves that AI would free humanity from drudgery. But what if it frees us from meaning instead? When machines can create art, write books, trade stocks, and diagnose diseases, what's left for us to do? Humanity has always defined itself through struggle and purpose. What happens when both are outsourced? The same old pattern reappears. The few who control the data will control the world. A handful of corporations are quietly building digital empires far more powerful than governments. Nations compete to weaponize intelligence. Misinformation is no longer a byproduct, it's a tool. Truth itself is dissolving into a sea of synthetic realities. The danger isn't that AI will destroy us. It's that it will become us, magnifying every flaw we refuse to fix. Greed, bias, control. We're building God in our image, but without our compassion. The fourth revolution's mistake is arrogance, believing we can create intelligence without understanding consciousness. It's the culmination of every revolution before it, the pursuit of power without wisdom. If we repeat the same cycle, this revolution might not end with new rulers. It might end with the end of human relevance itself. Because for the first time in history, we're not just changing the world. We're creating something that might not need us in it. Every revolution begins with a dream and ends with a mirror. We start with hope, with fire, with a belief that this time will be different. We swear we've learned from the past, that we won't repeat the same mistakes. But history isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. We rise, we fall, we rebuild, always thinking we're moving forward when we're just circling back to the same lesson in a new disguise. The French and American revolutions gave people the right to speak, but not the power to be heard. The Industrial Revolution gave us machines, but stole our humanity. The Digital Revolution connected us, but isolated our minds. And now, the AI revolution is giving us intelligence beyond imagination, but threatening the very meaning of being human. Different centuries, same promise. Different tools, same trap. Maybe the problem was never the kings or the machines or the algorithms. Maybe the real revolution we've been avoiding is the one inside ourselves. Because no system, no technology, no ideology can save humanity from its own reflection. Until we learn to manage our greed, our fear, our hunger for control, every new beginning will carry the seeds of its own collapse. So as we enter the fourth revolution, we stand at a crossroads. One path leads to progress, the merging of human creativity and machine intelligence, a world where we finally use our power with purpose. The other leads to a silent empire of code, efficient, obedient, and utterly soulless. The choice isn't technological. It's moral. Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. Revolutions don't fail because of their ideas. They fail because of their creators. The four revolutions, same pattern, same outcome, same mistake. The question now is, will the fifth be any different?